We also do have a very small potential for a tornado to spin up. That potential is very low, but non-zero. And given the fact that West Virginia as a whole of the state has recorded more tornadoes this calendar year than in any other calendar year in record, we're going to keep an eye on the potential diminish in intensity as it moves further towards the east. You can see this reflected in the severe weather threat for today. It is highest right around the area that we're seeing that line of thunderstorms forming right now. That is the enhanced risk for severe weather, and that moves as far east as I-79. Very dry through much of next week. And in fact, when you look at our precipitation outlook going all the way out to September 20th, we remain leaning below average in precipitation amounts. So unfortunately, our drought conditions that have only been worsening are likely going to continue to get worse. Much of north central West Virginia is under extreme drought conditions. Maybe looking at this and thinking, well, we are entering summer. It is supposed to be hot. But when you look at the weather fatalities that the National Weather Service recorded in 2023, notice which one is the highest. It's the heat. It's not tornadoes. It's not hurricanes. It's not floods or lightning. It is heat-related deaths. This is what we are trying to avoid. And that's where we start to see a lot of that heat moving in and going throughout next week. It's only going to continue to build into the eastern United States. So we are not the only ones that are going to be experiencing this heat wave. This is going to be affecting at least a third of the country. And also for those of you who own dogs, make sure that that asphalt temperature is not too hot for the bottom of your dog's paws. You can check it with the back of your hand. If you can't leave it there for a few seconds, it's probably too hot for your dog. So notice those temperatures for Sunday morning in the higher elevations going to be dipping down into the upper 30s. So there is a potential that in some of those higher terrains that we do see a little bit of frost formation heading into Sunday morning. Through much of this afternoon, expect mostly cloudy skies, sort of similar to what it looks like outside right now. And since we won't see rain in the afternoon, our temperatures will get a little bit warmer than they were yesterday, with many of our lowland areas reaching the low 80s, higher elevations likely reaching the mid 70s. Temperatures will be very warm tomorrow, not as warm for Thursday through Saturday with that storm activity. But with that system lingering, our humidity is going to be very high. So expect to be feeling very muggy heading into the holiday and the start of the weekend. More prone to seeing wind damage with gusts not as strong as 50 plus miles per hour. So a wind advisory warranted for our entire area. We do have a wind chill advisory going into effect at 1 a.m. tonight, lasting through 10 a.m. on Sunday. That's for our higher elevations, who will see wind chills as low as negative 15 degrees. Now, it doesn't help that our high temperatures for tomorrow are already going to be all below 20 degrees. When you factor in the wind chill, it's going to be even cooler, as you can imagine. So if that cold front passes, we're also going to be seeing those temperatures dropping significantly over the course of Friday, and those temperatures are going to stay very cold as we go throughout the weekend. So that's going to be affecting your Christmas Eve and your Christmas Day. Higher elevation counties up further towards the north, with the lack of gusty winds, that is a step down as a winter weather advisory. These winter alerts will be in effect until midnight Friday night. It will start to transition over into rain. Like I mentioned, with this system coming up from the south, it does actually warm our temperatures a bit. So we'll see a transition back into all rain in those higher elevations should we end up seeing some freezing rain at the beginning. 10 minutes if you are not properly protected. So we have our model Kayla Fedco here with how you can properly dress for the cold. You definitely want to be wearing a hat. Nice. Look at this, a nice spin. You want to have that hat on to keep the heat in at the top of your head, covering your ears. You want to be able to have something covering your mouth. It could be a scarf. It could be face masks. A lot of us probably have those because of COVID. System that's going to be bringing us that rain. And you can see exactly where that warm front is and where that cold front is over here. And those blues are just on the outside of that warm sector. So out here towards the east, Cumberland is at 45 degrees. Just saw the flooding that took place there. Morgantown also very high. We got a video from a viewer in Parsons earlier, and you can see that here. That flooding was into the roadways and into their backyards. Over the course of 3 days, Parsons saw 3.09 inches of rainfall accumulation. Mannington was another area that we got a viewer submitted photo. This was Mowens Run Road in Mannington. This was 2.67 inches of rainfall accumulation over a 72-hour period. It's also worth noting the average amount of rainfall that Elkins expects to see for the entire month of April is 4.10 inches. that is only 5/100ths of an inch away in a span of the first 3 days of the month. Morgantown also very close to their average rainfall amount for the month of April, 3.87. Morgantown saw 3.78 inches, so very close to that as well. The amount of rain we expect to see in an entire month we saw in a span of 3 days.